Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome here to the office and welcome to the morning grind. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. I'm sorry, I couldn't do the morning grind yesterday. Yeah, the weekend was a pretty terrible weekend as far as productivity went, and I basically did nothing yesterday, which I thought was going to kind of reset me and make things a bit better. But you know what? As it turns out, not so much. So I'm going to have to, productivity has been so low over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to have to figure out something. Going to have to shake things up in a major way. And actually, one of the things I've been thinking about is maybe adding, I never intended for the show in general to be exclusive to role-playing games. It just ended up that way because I needed to study role-playing games because I was trying to write one. So it might be that, now, of course, I got to actually spend time thinking about loading up different topics on the channel. But it may be that what I need to do is that one of the things that I want to look at doing is adding more topics, geek-related topics into the morning grind and kind of branch out. Because we have been doing a whole lot of role-playing games. One thing I do want to look at, and actually we've been looking at a whole bunch of D20-based role-playing games. And Trey brought up that we should look at basic fantasy. And actually, probably I do think we should look at basic fantasy by Chaosium. because it's the one that's based off of Call of Cthulhu. And we have been looking at so many different like D20 or E or a 5E kind of variations that, okay, I mean, some of them have been great, but all right, they all end up just being variations of each other to some degree. So I thought that, well, maybe for another type of system, maybe we should look at that, but maybe we can bring in some other topics to talk about, wider Geekverse topics, and try to add those in as well. So, but today, yeah, the Game Mastery Guide, I was trying to think of what should we do this morning. And I was, again, looking for one of my games because I was thinking about it being Enchantress, but I was just looking around here in the office, and my, I'd like to show the physical components, but Enchantress is, they're all in shrink wrap, but I know that I have Enchantress that's not in shrink wrap, so there must be another part of the house. So we'll take a look at that and then take a look at the rules soon. Tomorrow should be a world building Wednesday, although, again, productivity has been so low. It's really been bad. So yeah, so I thought, well, gee, I've got this gigantic list of PDFs, or gigantic download of PDFs from Pathfinder that we should go ahead and take a look at. And people have said the Game Mastery Guide is really good, and I've got it in physical copy back there, but I thought, hey, I also have this this in PDF. So let's take a look at that, and let's see what type of material is inside it. What does it cover? Because to be honest, sometimes I forget the 5e Dungeon Master Guide exists, and it does have some interesting things in it, but to me, it hasn't been a terribly memorable book. Now, maybe it's because I haven't done as much game mastering for 5e, but we'll see. Carl Makes Stuff is here. Zero Theory and Nathaniel is here. Good morning. Brett is here. Good morning. Good morning. Charlie, more Hero Quest. Brett says more Hero Quest. See, that's the problem. See, I'm really upset with myself about that too, because I'm still trying to get a few things done over here. I've got to do some financial stuff. But then after that, one of the major things I've got to do is still create like the intros and things like that, and also edit together dinner. I created a personal grill. This was a while back ago. I built a little personal grill on the porch, and I used it to grill a steak, and I recorded it because I got a request to record it. And I thought, hey, but you know what? Actually, if I edit that together, that would be a perfect dinner and a board game dinner. So I got all the Hero Quest stuff painted, and that was what was taking such a long time, because I was like, all right, I want to make sure that I have enough painted stuff in order to create a show. But then I haven't been able to do my third kind of pilot of Hero Quest because I haven't had my Friday streams. So that's another thing that's been upsetting me. So I've got to push through this stuff here in order to create some assets and then get back to that, because I don't know. I think dinner and a board game should get more traction. Well, actually, I wish that a lot of things I've been doing over here had gotten more traction than they have. But dinner and a board game is one of those things that I feel like could keep going. At least I'd like to be able to complete at least 3 seasons of it. Once I get going on something, I like to complete I like to do it at least 3 times. So we did 1 season, and then we did a pilot for a 2nd season. But I'm going to do solo play Hero Quest for like a new pilot type. So yeah, I want to do that. And it's just getting myself to do it. Good morning, Jason. Sable Phoenix asks, have you looked at Rifts yet? The news just recently was revealed that Matt Corville's new game system would be forked off Rifts. I have nope, I have never looked at Rifts. Do not know it. So that's interesting, though. I mean, see, that's another one that we could cover, like the I've got his books because I've used like the Stronghold Builder's Guidebook and stuff like that in Lou's game. So I've actually run a game that uses it. But otherwise, so, we've been trying to follow. I'd like to still continue follow what Mark Tassin is doing with Cool Name. I guess I was a little bit more excited about Black Flags, and doesn't it have a name now? Or at least the names will be released under, like Tales of the Valiant. I haven't looked in great detail, but I think I've seen that come by my YouTube feed. But I was a little bit more interested in that after we got into it the other day, the second playtest released. So a little bit more. So, but maybe we could follow rifts as well. See, another option that I was thinking, so I'm trying to figure out like the best way. I'm gonna have to go through complete day reorganizations again because I've just fallen into, and I don't like picking up bad habits, and so I want to make sure that I restructure the day. I mean, I would love to be able to make these shows work because I kind of like I talked to Friday about this, like going back to all the things that I wanted to do from the beginning, and one of them was to try to like have some kind of show or be on the radio. Now we didn't have live streams or anything like that at the time. But kind of been making that happen. But it would be great. I really like to be able to find ways to structure my day so that I'm either doing YouTube shows and broadcasts, or I am working on the stories and the worlds. And I've been trying to work on a few other things to see if I could get them going. But I think they're beside the point. And if they, as with most things, if they could just happen, then it would be great. But they're taking more work, and that's I think a distraction from the core of what I'm trying to do. So I've got to figure out how to do it. Got to figure out how to make that happen. Let's see. The news is recently okay. So I just looked at that, and I don't know anything about rifts or that. So my point was there. I guess we could add that one to one that we would be following, and one of the ways that we could do that is potentially by doing longer morning grind shows. Because what he's doing might be worth following. That would have us following Cool Name, Black Flag, and then Colville's work. More RPGs than there are time to play. Zero Theory says, it has been D20 heavy. I really like a lot of the other rules system. Looking forward to that. Jason says, I got PDFs from a Humble Bundle a few months ago. That's how I got those Gamemastery guides. Still need to break them out. So yeah, I'm kind of the same way. And August says that a Gamemastery guide is free on Archives of Nethys. Good morning. Good morning, Andrew. Remember 80 pays the bills? Oh, 80%. Don't worry about having everything done. Just go and have fun. We know you're working on it just like everybody else. 80%. Yeah, that's if that's what you're talking about, getting to 80% and actually just getting it done. That is important. Oh, by the way, now yesterday I did finish. It actually took me. Now this did get done over the weekend. I was trying to fix the problem with the layout of Goodnight Sword, because these are supposed to be nice cloud-like boxes, but they just did not come out on the print. And so Sunday I was working on that, but still didn't really come up with a good solution to fix that or really understand the problem. Yesterday, though, it took me about 3 hours yesterday afternoon. I finally got that fixed, and I got that re-uploaded in a format that it would accept. That took about 3 tries to try that as well. So Goodnight Sword, it's checking Goodnight Sword again. So that did happen. Patrick, good morning. Yeah, Tales of the Valiant is its name now. Yeah, I'm not sure about the name either. Hey, Neutromancer. Yeah, Tales of the Valiant, to me, I don't know. I don't necessarily really like that name either. Okay, what is Zero Theory? What's the solution to you're talking about to my quandary over here, to what I'm doing over here? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet if that's what we're talking about. Oh, we do have a table talk tonight. We got to get on with this. We do have a table talk tonight. Brianna and I also watched Labyrinth yesterday, so we have been very Labyrinth heavy. Also, it seems like for no particular reason on table talk. So we watched Labyrinth. Yesterday. So we are going to be discussing Labyrinth tonight. Zero Theory says, "Oh, the book." So the solution that I ended up taking was that I realized that I could go back to InDesign because I have the original InDesign file that Brianna made. And actually, the PDFs were also showing the clouds. So it wasn't like, I would have noticed that. So it must be something that happened between me and the printer. So my solution yesterday eventually was to export all of the PNGs, high quality PNGs from the InDesign file. But you also had to make sure I did that with the bleed. So it was the PNGs with the bleed, and then rebuilt PDF from that. So I've got just their PNG, so it shouldn't be anything weird with the way it prints. And then rebuilt a PDF from that, and then figured out what type of PDF settings eventually that it would take. So that's what we're doing here. Brent says, for what it's worth, Hero Quest pieces being painted. Can't even see those painted with my small phone for what it's worth. But a video on how you paint them could be awesome. Well, I see. I had been several things on that. So, one thing to do is to not worry about that as far as dinner and board game goes. When I originally conceptualized dinner and a board game, though, that was one of the things that it was supposed to be. We always, or generally, we had our custom built boards with our 3D setups that Megan and I were making, and the rest of the crew was making too in the workshop. And then also having some type of nice setup. So to me, that from the beginning, that was kind of a part of dinner and a board game. Although that's one of the things that could get dropped in the future. Maybe doing all of that is not important. Although if it doesn't happen for dinner and a board game, then it means that my stuff will never get painted. So in this way, I was kind of using later on dinner and a board game as a way to make sure that my boxes of stuff did get painted. Some miniatures did get painted because they got to be on screen for dinner and a board game. So I did actually, when I built the 3D Hero Quest board, that's a 3 video series. So, and video number 3 in that series, if you look up 3D Hero Quest, that was video number 3 was all about, about 80% about how we painted the miniatures, 70 or 80% about how we painted the miniatures. Now, we did that in a traditional way. I didn't have the speed paints then. Hey, speaking of speed paints, those metallic speed paints should be coming in sometime. Sometime that'll be happening. So they were painted traditionally. So those are out there. I would like to do another video about reviewing the speed paints and things like that. I had taken some of the stuff. I had taken videos and was going to take pictures of that. But on the other hand, making edited YouTube videos, that's been another problem. Making edited YouTube videos has just not been something that... You make one and then they'll end up getting viewed like 16 times, like really. So my motivation for all of a sudden making a lot of more of the edited YouTube videos on this channel kind of flagged. So yeah, as somebody pointed out, you hadn't done just a standard video in a while. Yeah, you're right, because motivation on that flagged because they don't get watched. I don't know if I need more to make more stuff. I just need more stuff to get watched. But that goes back to maybe if I'm spending time making YouTube videos, I would rather make the story videos on the story channels that does world building and stuff like that. So that may be, I might give up. Like if I had to give up doing some of the videos on this channel in order to actually get stories and stuff like that out, then I would do that. I would if I was trying to, because there's only so much time. But if time had to go toward editing videos and actually compiling YouTube videos, would I rather have it be something like the intro to the Black Cipher world, or would I rather do? I've got topics to talk about, but some type of other edited video here on this channel. I think I would much rather have the world stuff out. So. Oh, thank you, Jason. So that would mean, so I think the live streams over here are fairly unique. And then if the world stuff, I think would be fairly unique. I mean, there are a lot of people who put out other different kinds of content. So I don't know. So I'm rethinking. Always have to rethink and make sure that you're doing the right thing. All right. I've got to get some more water. I'm drinking water here this morning, but I did finally edit together some morning messages. So here are today's morning messages. This month, there are several things going on Ravenkeep.net. First, War of Kings is the game of conquest, kingdom building, and strategy that my brother and I developed. It's Catan meets Risk, but there are only 5 boxes of War of Kings remaining, and the game won't be reprinted. Also, Enchantress, the game of wizardly combat, also designed by my brother and me, is on Ravenkeep.net, but there are just 6 copies of that game left, and it will also not be reprinted. So if you'd like either of these games for your table, please pick up one from the website now. If you've been enjoying what I'm doing here on the channel, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking that join button. Your support is so important, and this month, we have a special offer for all of the channel members. If you join, you'll get a $7.99 discount on all of the custom mugs from Ravenkeep.net, Cultist Coffee, Witch's Brew, or Fish Do Not Drink Tea. Once you've joined the channel, just check the members only post on the YouTube channel's community tab for the discount code. Remember, all orders from the website of $99 or more ship free, but I can only ship to the United States. And thank you for being here with me live on The Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying the morning grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. Alright, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. Alright, so here we are, back. Thank you so much. I dropped links to ravenkeep.net in the chat, and then also a link to the Discord server as well. So that's what we got going here. So let's take a look at the Gamemastery guide. I don't know. Maybe we need I was looking at other streamers as well, and other streamers, man, they do stream more than I do. Like I was looking at some people who go from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock every morning, and then from like 9 to 7 p.m. That's a lot of streaming. Maybe that's my problem. I'm just not streaming enough. Okay, so here is the Gamemastery guide. So I don't anticipate needing to turn this into a giant multi-day stream on the Pathfinder Gamemastery guide. Oh, let's breathe and sip. But if we need to, I guess so. But I'm kind of just more interested in like what type of topics this is cover. If this is such a great book, as people were saying, what makes it different from the 5e DMG? It seemed like when I was playing AD&D, and possibly even 3rd edition, although I don't remember that quite as much. But like when I was playing AD&D, the Game Master's Guide was something that we were looking at all the time. So that's why I was like, I constantly was aware of that book because there was something in it that we were having to reference or get out or something like that. And I just haven't felt that way with 5e. But maybe this is the way that it is here with Pathfinder. All right, let's breathe and sip. Here you got your drink. I got water with me this morning. Try and drink more water too. Got to drink more water. So I've got water this morning. So 2 deep inhales. Think about your breathing for just a few seconds. Complete inhales, deep inhales, complete exhales. Deep inhale, complete exhale, and then take a sip of your favorite drink this morning. So here we go. All right, there we go. All right, that's a good way to start this morning. No, hey, good morning. No, you haven't missed much. We're just about to get really into it this morning. Carl says that's a fair bit of streaming. You streaming daily is already a lot. Yeah, it is. It is. See, and we used to, like when I was first starting this for maybe the first like 2nd and 3rd months, I did stream every night as well with the wind down. The problem with the wind down, and that did give an anchor in the evening, which was nice. But what was I saying? I see your Andrew was saying that at least for me, some of the streaming comes down to timing. Might be some value to having different times of day to get different people, lots of time zones around the world. Yeah, that could be too, and that's another reason why potentially, or could be why longer streams sometimes work better because other people are coming in on different hours. That could work too. But I would say, the problem with the wind down for me was that it was not terribly productive. I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't contributing something like would I rather have like a conversation with table talk because the conversations are productive, or something like that. Because I was like, okay, I gotta get ready for the wind down, but I got to stop whatever I'm doing. The conversations are productive. I really enjoy having the table talk conversations. And then morning grind is also productive because we're trying to investigate something that I've been meaning to investigate anyway, and wouldn't have been investigating if I didn't actually make time for it. So I might as well do it live. But I was thinking that maybe we could revive the wind down, but make it topical as well. And I was thinking about expanding different topics in the Geekverse. Maybe the wind down could be the one that explores some different topics outside of RPGs and stuff. So I don't know. There's all kinds of things I'm thinking about. All right, so let's take a look at the table of contents here and see what we need to take a look at. Game Mastery Basics, Tools, Subsystems. Subsystems include victory points, influence, research, chases, infiltration, reputation, duels, leadership, Hexploration and vehicles. That one might be a good one to take a look at. Tools. Like building creatures, building hazards. Relics. Oh, I do like relics. Artifacts. Now, actually, you probably should take a look at relics and artifacts. I remember that from the 2nd edition days. I enjoyed that. Gems and art objects. Building worlds. Variant rules for ability scores, alignment variants, deep backgrounds, feats and features, levels. Oh, we got level 0 characters here. So that is a part of Pathfinder. Magic item variants, proficiency without levels, skill points, stamina. NPC gallery. Glossary and index. Okay. I don't know how much we need to take a look at Gamemastery basics, because we probably already know quite a bit of that. I do see running downtime. So downtime is in this book. Okay, let's take a look at downtime, because my problem with downtime has always been when we were playing in 5e that it took up too much table time. I think downtime should be something that should be able to be done without a lot of table time. We'd get together, but then we'd have to adjudicate downtime for a lot of time. So I wonder if this tries to fix it. Oh, Chase. Okay, so Chase is recommending this. Chase says the running downtime section of the start is really helpful for GMs, especially. The variant rules section is probably the most often talked about from regular GMs and Pathfinders. Okay, thank you, Chase. Okay. Let's start there. Zero Theory says, Mike Podsmith's Listen Up, primitive screwheads is considered a great GM guide all around, though written specifically for Cyberpunk. I believe it's very rules agnostic. I've never heard of that one. Okay, then let's look at downtime. Okay. You can use downtime in a variety of ways that can streamline gameplay and flesh out the story, such as demonstrate changes to the setting that result from the PC's previous achievements, giving them more time to breathe and appreciate what they've accomplished, emphasize the PC's planning and fruit it bears. Avoid bogging the game down, even if a great deal of time passes. Keep the number of roles small. Bring back competing NPCs or plot threads. Okay. You'll find basics. Okay, you'll find the basics of running downtime on page 500 of the core rulebook. Oh, so apparently that's in the core rulebook too. So let's say group engagement. One major challenge of downtime is keeping the whole group involved. Well, I mean, I agree. It seemed like there was a lot of stuff. Okay, now what are you doing with your downtime? Now what are you doing with your downtime? What do you? In some ways, I would just argue, hey, let's skip that. And then you have to adjudicate it with all kinds of roles. That's one of those situations where I think downtime should be able to be done without rolling. Potentially, that way it doesn't have to be done at the table at all. When you can, combine multiple people's tasks into one. For instance, if a PC wants to earn income with performance and another wants to offer their services as a medic, you might say that a traveling caravan is stopping briefly, seeking entertainment and treatment for diseases and injuries their group suffered on the road. That means you can put both PCs in the same scene. You can also look for downtime activities that affect multiple characters' interests. For instance, if a rogue's contact at the Thieves Guild want a special magical cloak, a different PC might craft that cloak. PCs can also help each other more directly. For instance, if the barbarian player doesn't plan to do anything in downtime, you might let the barbarian aid another character in crafting weapons. There are two ways which you might end up with a game that has no downtime, no time, and no interest. In the first, the story moves along so quickly that the PCs don't really have time to engage with downtime. Think of it like a breakneck action movie where the characters barely have time to breathe before they're off to the next challenge, and even end the adventure on a cliffhanger. In the second, you and the players just don't care about downtime at all. It doesn't interest you. In this case, you summarize what happens between adventurers and you skip the downtime rules. Downtime is more satisfying when PCs work toward long-term goals rather than perform disconnected tasks. You can ask players what their PC's goals are, and you can look for storylines that interest them. You can seed for long-term goals. Long-term goals might include running a business, creating a guild. And we did run businesses. Establishing an arcane school, returning a despoiled land to its natural splendor, or reforming local politics, or building a ruin. Daniel says that downtime in the early editions usually happened between sessions, something I heard before. All right, so that was a little bit more info on downtime, I guess. Well, okay, so variant rules 180. Chase said was something that people talk about a lot. So let's go and look at. Let's go to 180 and see what the variant rules are. And we didn't go through the entire core book, Pathfinder core book. We did go extensively through the box, the starter box. I'm kind of interested in the Hexploration stuff. But let's go down to variant rules. Almost there. Okay, what type of variant rules do we have? We've got ability score variance includes an alternate ability score system that works entirely through ability points, plus ways to distribute what each ability score impacts more evenly. That's probably good. Alignment variance contains options for removing alignment and incremental alignment system. Deep backgrounds. Replace simply selecting a background with a series of steps that flesh out more of the character's backstory. Feats and features shows how to build characters who gain feats and class features in different ways, from dual class characters with the options of 2 classes to characters with a free archetype or more ancestry feats. Level 0 characters. Magic item variants. Contains rules for deconstructing the magic item bonuses, allowing you to progress them automatically or via craftsmanship to more easily run lower magic games. Oh, that's probably interesting to me. Proficiency without level changes the fundamental math of the proficiency system to tell stories where being outnumbered by weaker foes remains a challenge and high-level characters are less superhuman. That also sounds good to me. Skill points offers a more granular system for characters to choose and hone their skills. Stamina grants characters a pool of stamina points they lose before hit points and recover them by resting to catch their breath. David says, that being said, some are easier to get into than others, like level 0 characters or deep backgrounds. Okay, let's take a look at what they're saying about the ability score variants, and then take a look at those. Oh, there's a lot here. Okay, but what are we saying here? Oh, I think there's several here. So gradual ability boosts, point buy, alternative scores. Okay, so there are actually 3 different types here. So gradual ability boosts. In this variant, a character gains ability boosts more gradually as they level up, rather than receiving 4 ability boosts at 5th, 10th, 15th, and 20th level. Each character gains 1 ability boost when they reach each of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th levels. These are collectively a single set of ability boosts, so characters can't boost the same ability more than once per set. Characters can put a dot next to each boosted ability score or otherwise mark it to keep track. PCs also receive an ability boost at 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and so forth. This spreads out ability boosts, and using them earlier means a character can increase their most important ability modifier at a lower level. This makes characters slightly more powerful on average, but makes levels 5, 10, 15, and 20 less important, since characters usually choose the least important ability boost of the set at those levels. Point buy. I think we all know what a point buy system is. Alternative scores, though. The classic ability scores aren't of equal value in the rules. Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom tend to be more important unless a character requires a particular ability score from among the other three for a specific purpose, which I do think is a weakness of the system of the classic Dungeons and Dragons ability scores. And it kind of actually surprises me that they didn't try to fix that more, because they say the classic ability scores aren't of equal value in the rules. Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom tend to be more important. But actually, it does kind of surprise me that Constitution in this game, it says is important. That they didn't try to rebalance those when designing Pathfinder. If you'd prefer all ability scores to be of roughly equivalent value in character building, this variant creates 6 ability scores that are much closer in balance with one another. Make the following changes. Strength does everything that both Strength and Constitution do in the core rulebook, and Constitution is gone. A character uses their Strength for melee and unarmed attack rolls, damage rolls, athletics, hit points, fortitude saves, and so on. Dexterity splits into 2 ability scores. The first, still called Dexterity, represents manual dexterity and applies to ranged weapons and unarmed attack rolls, attack and damage rolls with finesse weapons, if better than Strength, and thievery checks. Agility, which represents footwork, applies to armor class, reflex saves, acrobatics checks, and stealth checks. Charisma applies to will saves instead of wisdom. Wisdom is otherwise unchanged, and intelligence is otherwise unchanged. And then a few tweaks here. So get rid of, so their solution was to get rid of Constitution here. See, they say that Constitution is very valuable here, but then just, okay, roll it into Strength. I guess because Strength was not all that useful. And then split Dexterity into Dexterity and Agility. So split Dexterity. Like Nave was talking about using Wisdom for ranged attacks rather than dancing around. So I don't know. Chase says the free archetype in feats and features part of the variant rules is a good one. Archetypes are Pathfinder 2E's way of multi-classing. Normally, player characters choose an archetype feat in place of a class one. Huh. The variant rules allow you to take those archetype feats for free. Gives your characters the multi-class feel without giving up your class abilities. Plus, it really doesn't hurt game balance. David says they do kind of use things better in the core rules, just by how they are used. These alternate ability scores are, for me, just as unbalanced, with Strength being the new most important stat. Sable Phoenix says, that's quite cool. I've always had numerous issues with the D20 system and its spin-offs, and once you really get down to it, a huge number of these issues come from the classic 6 attributes. I agree with that. 6 attributes and the problems with the rolling a D20 itself. Okay, alignment changes. We've got minor changes, extreme good and evil, incremental alignment, making it more of a gradation. Major changes include no alignment, moral intentions. In this variant, every character, NPC, and monster selects one or more closely held beliefs, intentions, or loyalties. Simple statements about a character's intention, such as the examples listed in the sidebar, such as, I will never let my companions down. I will avenge my family. I will protect the natural world. I will achieve great wealth. Flesh out characters and enliven role-playing scenes. This system requires some back and forth between the GM and other players, and more, though, on the part of everyone at the table. Typically, specifying 3 intentions or loyalties work well to define a character. These personal intentions cover broad spectra of behavior and in large part define the subjective intention of the good for that individual. Intentions could be as abstract as acting with honor or as concrete as devotion to a character's mother. A person following their core beliefs or intentions like they are acting in good manner feels like they are acting in a good manner, and those likely to view other actions against or restricting those beliefs as evil. Okay, how to adjust things for that. Oh, let's see what deep backgrounds are. I know it does seem that way. It does seem that way. I've noticed that. Yeah, strength is the better. Strength, Amir says that, yeah, strength is better in core second E. So my problem with backgrounds has been that, well, I don't like backgrounds where you should be expected to take a certain background if you are a certain class, even though that does seem to make sense in many cases. They're like, hey, if you're a knight now, maybe your background is squire. If you're a cleric now, then acolyte seems to make sense as a background. But if you're supposed to be taking a certain background with a class, then why have them at all? Why even make it a choice? If you're going to be hampered in some way because you don't have the right background for your class, then you should just not have the choice. If you're going to have it, then you should be able to mix and match backgrounds with any class and not feel hampered. But on the other hand, it does make me wonder, if you're a level 1 character or a level 0 character, some of them never feel particularly appropriate to me. Like soldier has always been one that stuck out to me, because now I'm talking about 5e here as they do it over there. Because if you're supposed to be a soldier, and you're still level 1, or you did it while you were level 0. So did you do any fighting? Was there a war? Like, did you gain any kind of experience? So yeah, you're supposed to be a soldier. Oh, you were fighting in wars. I even think when it says you're fighting in war, okay, well then you're still level 1. I don't get it. Jefferson says the tool chapter is also great. You take a look at that. Zero Theory says, I like to do what doesn't make sense. A knight background with street urchin. That's a story. The Last Phoenix says that, yeah, the background should give benefits that are insignificant to the class and completely different aspect from the class. Yeah, Amir says, but it's funny to have a barrister who turns into a barbarian. Yeah. Okay, so it was mainly, so 5e ties it definitely to the skills, though. So you're talking about the free boost and the skill feats aren't that impactful, but it, like 5e, like what skills you've got. Like I ended up being a wizard without Arcana or something because I had the wrong background or something. Okay, so this is deep backgrounds. This variant replaces step 4 of character creation. The player rolls on the table in this section to determine their character's family background, homeland, major childhood event, influential associate, relationships, and drawbacks. Wow. Family background, homeland, major childhood event, influential associate, relationships, and drawbacks. Each element of the player's background adds options to the final list of ability boosts, skills, feats, and other options that they can have with their character's grant. The player writes these options down as they build their character's background. At the end of the process, they select the following from among the options they wrote down. But this probably increases the amount of time it takes to create a character, I would guess. 2 ability boosts, each to a different ability score, training in 1 lore skill, 1 skill feat, or possibly another feat or piece of equipment. If the player chooses a skill feat, they become trained in its prerequisite skill, or one of its possible prerequisite skills if it has multiple. If the random result includes a feat that isn't a skill feat, and the player selects that feat, they don't gain training in the skill. If they choose a piece of equipment instead of a skill feat, the entry indicates what skill training, if any, they receive. So generating deep backgrounds. Yeah, see, the question will be, is this worth the extra time in character generation? So family background, the word family means something different to everyone. They might have a biological family, adopted family, step family, or other kind of combination you choose. To determine the number of family members you grew up with as an active part of your life, roll 1d% on the following table. Use the medium family for most ancestry, small if you're a half-elf or half-orc, and large if you're a goblin or halfling. For ancestors other than those in the core book, use the column that best suits the ancestry. It's up to you whether or not these family members are parents, siblings, grandparents, or other close relatives. Interesting. Maybe not particularly relevant. If you grew up with no family, you had to learn survival on your own. Add a strength ability boost and constitution ability boost to your options. If you grew up with 2 family members, your closeness to them made you highly aware of their feelings. Add an intelligence boost and a wisdom boost to your options. If you grew up with 3 or more family members, you had to mediate family conflicts and negotiate a crowded home. Add a constitution ability boost and a dexterity boost to your options. Homeland. We got a D20 here. Underground, itinerant, front lines, metropolis, cosmopolitan city. So this is telling you add fishing lore, sailing lore, and lore of a specific type of sea creature if you came from a coastal community to your background options. It doesn't say take it. It says add it to your background options. And then you have to choose which ones to get. Cosmopolitan city. Academic community. You were raised in or near a university, academy, or other center of learning. Add academia lore, genealogy lore, library lore, and scribing lore to your background options. Major childhood event. Another D20 roll. Witnessed war, survived a disaster, betrayed, met a fantastic creature. Influential associate. The boss, the criminal, the dead one. One of your greatest influences was a sapient undead creature such as a ghost, lich, grave knight, or vampire. Relationships. Inspiring relationship. Comrade in arms. Kindly witch. Matter of might. Oh, this is challenging relationship. You had inspiring relationship, challenging. This is that's quite a bit. So you go through all of these, and that allows you to add the different options. But then at the end, once you've done all of your options, you pick 2. At the end of the process, they select the following from among the options written down: 2 ability boosts, training in 1 lore skill, and 1 skill feat. The Last Phoenix sounds like just a custom background made by the same rules most of the regular ones are made with. It could be. Chase says, you'll end up with a bit more skills or feats than you would by just taking a normal background. I feel it's a way to help players start working on their backstory as much as anything. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. If you're trying to, if you need the character to have a backstory and you're like, I don't know what to say, and the ordinary background is not enough, this probably helps. Feats and features. Free arc. Is this the archetype you're talking about? Sometimes the story of the game calls for a group where everyone is a pilot or an apprentice at a magic school. The free archetype variant introduces a shared aspect to every character without taking away any of that character's existing choices. It can also provide a lighter version of dual class characters by giving everyone a free multi-class archetype. Ancestry Paragon. Most characters have some elements that connect them to their ancestry, but identify more strongly with their class or unique personality. Sometimes, though, a character is embodied with their ancestry to the point that it's equally important to their class. For instance, when their ancestral background is a major theme and such characters the norm, your group might consider using the Ancestry Paragon variant. I remember Paragons in like 3rd edition Unearthed Arcana. Level 0 characters. That's one of my favorites. All right, let's see here. Building a level 0 character is similar to building a first level character, but you stop after choosing your ancestry and background. A level 0 character still gets the 4 free ability boost from step 6 as the normal part of the character creation process, but not the class ability boost. At level 0, a level 0 character is trained in perception. All saving throws. A level 0 character is trained in perception, all saving throws, unarmed attacks, unarmed defense, and one simple weapon of their choice. Additionally, they are trained in a number of skills equal to 2 plus their intelligence modifier. The proficiency bonus for a 0 level character works the same way as normal, but since the level is 0, the total proficiency for being trained is +2. Because it's normally proficiency bonus plus level, right? Hit points. A level 0 character adds their constitution modifier to their ancestry hit points to determine their starting hit points. You get 5 GP to spend on equipment. If the story you want to tell is about a character who have started training to become a particular class, you can grant them a small number of additional abilities. An apprentice character is trained in the skill or skills specified by their chosen class, such as occultism and performance for a bard. In addition to the skills they gain through their initial proficiencies, they also gain benefits based on the class. Alchemist. An apprentice alchemist gains the advanced alchemy ability of the alchemy class feature. Their advanced alchemy level is 1, and they have a batch of infused reagents each day. They can make only infused alchemical items. Monk, okay, gains the powerful fist for class feature. An apprentice of another martial class, barbarian, champion, fighter, ranger, and rogue, is trained in light armor, all simple weapons, and 1 martial weapon listed in the class's initial proficiencies. If a martial class not listed here lacks light armor or martial weapon training, give them a different ability as well. Spellcaster. An apprentice spellcaster is trained in the appropriate magical tradition and gains 2 cantrips from their class. A prepared caster.
You'd like to call Catrice.
Nope. I do not want to call anybody. An apprentice spellcaster is trained in the appropriate magical tradition and gains 2 cantrips from their class. A prepared caster can't change those cantrips each day. Combat can be especially dangerous for 0 level characters. For safety's sake, you might treat the character as a level -1 when determining what combat encounters are appropriate. For skill checks, you can still accomplish tasks with simple trained DCs using their trained skills, but success is less certain. Since they have fewer skills, the party might not have everyone trained for a given task. If you're playing these characters for more than a few sessions, consider advancing them to 1st level using the fast advancement speed, 800 XP. If your group wants a longer experience at level 0, start the group without any apprentice benefits, then level up to apprentice, gaining those benefits and apprenticement adjustments for their class, and then level up to 1st level. As the characters start with 5 GP, their adventures up to 1st level should count for the rest of their 1st level character's starting money. That means you'll distribute treasure worth 10 GP times the number of PCs, a large percentage of which should be in currency. All right, so I'm glad level 0 we're back. Let's see. So was that? Oh, no, magic. I thought I was out. Magic item variants, proficiency without level, skill points. Let's check out that stamina. Let's check out stamina. I thought I was all the way through those. Is this going to be like vitality points? So stamina. In some fantasy stories, the heroes are able to avoid any serious injury until the situation gets dire, getting by with a graze or a flesh wound and needing nothing more than a quick rest to get back on their feet. If your group wants to tell tales like this, you can use the stamina variant to help make that happen. Okay, so stamina's impact. The main gameplay consequence of using these stamina rules is that a quick 10 or 20-minute rest can restore most groups to full or nearly full health via taking a breather and treating wounds as necessary, allowing more encounters within shorter breaks in between. Additionally, charisma or otherwise diplomatic characters gain fun and useful ways to bolster their allies. Because spells that heal hit points don't restore stamina points, it's a little harder to heal up completely in the middle of a fight. This can mean that fights between can become deadly after characters have been beaten down, possibly causing retreats to be more frequent, but the retreats themselves are shorter. The focus of the game can stay consistently within encounters with less managing of time and resources outside of battle. Yeah, I know. So someone who hasn't learned Pathfinder 2nd Edition basic rules yet, most of this is Greek to me as far as understanding how it would change the game. But the characters are in every Pathfinder book I see are freaking great. Oh, this was from 1st edition or was involved in 1st edition? Oh, Last Phoenix says, I'm a 1st edition enjoyer, but never played with stamina. So stamina points represent a character's energy or readiness. They're reduced by damage just like hit points, but a character always loses their stamina points first and loses hit points only if they're out of stamina points. A character takes damage exceeding their remaining stamina points. The excess damage reduces their hit points. However, they lose any temporary hit points before losing stamina points. So temporary hit points before stamina points. Heal spells restore hit points, not stamina points. In addition to their ancestry hit points, a PC gains a number of stamina points and hit points indicated in the second and third columns of table 421 at first level. Both values increase by the same amount each level thereafter. This replaces the hit points a character gains from their class in a standard game. So you're not increasing hit points. Yeah, this is a lot like, I think it sounds a lot like the vitality system. Wasn't that what D20 Modern uses? And I remember that it was what the Star Wars game used too. I remember something like that in Star Wars. So normal class HP, class stamina points, class hit points, classes. Normal class HP, class stamina points. So you've got both now. You've got class stamina points and class hit points. But you do get ancestry. So I guess I'm gonna have to remember how that works, because you get ancestry hit points. But then this is also class based. Resolve points. In this variant, each PC also has a pool of resolve points representing their intrinsic grit and luck. A character's maximum resolve points is equal to their key ability modifier, and their character regains all of their resolve points with a full night's rest. In addition to spending resolve points to regain stamina points, a character can spend resolve points in the following way. Stabilize. If a character is dying at the start of their turn, their characters spend one resolve point to stabilize to 0 HP. That kind of sounds like something from, was that Starfinder? That may be why you're saying that it was like in 1st edition Pathfinder, because there was something like that in Starfinder we saw, right? Gaining or increasing the wounded condition as normal for stabilizing. At the start of the character's next turn, they gain 1 XP and wake up unless they start dying again. The character can act on that turn. Consider this an optional rule best suited for groups that have little access to healing. With this rule, you might remove the ability for characters to use hero points to stabilize. Yeah, so Emir says it's a lot like the Starfinder health system. Yeah, I mean, getting a hang of those base rules first would definitely help the most. The variant rules won't drastically change anything. Hey, Brandon. Good morning. So glad to catch another morning grind. Good morning, Brandon. Yeah, the last Phoenix says, reminds me of the 4th edition short rest spend, 4th edition, spend hit die thing. So then we do have some actions here. Take a breather. You rest for 10 minutes and recover your stamina. After you complete this activity, you regain all stamina points. Rally, encouraging words. Okay. So, yes. Where did we go here? We did a lot of talking this morning before we actually got started here and looking at this book. So let's go for a few more minutes and see what we need to look at here. So that was so that was the variant rules. NPC gallery we probably don't need to take a look at. So I kind of want to look at relics and artifacts. Let's take a look at relics and artifacts, and then maybe we'll have time to look at some subsystems. So, or even cursed items and intelligent items. Well, okay, there's a lot under tools here. Let's go to page 88. Now, item quirks. Item quirks are particular characteristics that make items unique in unusual ways. These can make individual items, particularly permanent items, stand out from one another and can give additional wonder to magic items beyond just their mechanical benefits. Oh, I remember there being a table like that when we were playing AD&D. I think it actually came from a Dragon magazine or something like that. So I don't know that it was officially in one of the books. I want to say it came from a magazine. There was something like that was like characteristics for magic sword or something like that. Rather than finding just another +1 magic sword, there was like a D100 thing to roll on that would give you something else that made the weapon unique rather than just its mechanical benefit. So that's nice. Intelligent items. Keep in mind, magic items with a mind of their own have been a hallmark of myth and fantasy for millennia. When integrating it into a campaign, they can become memorable characters in their own right. I remember liking the intelligent item section of the AD&D DMG. So I'm for that. I'm for that. Okay, it's a short section, but I am for that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that's in here. Cursed items. Now we went through the the Book of Vile Darkness, which talked about curses. So cursed items. While magic items can be potent weapons for any adventurer's arsenal, magic can be unpredictable and not always benign. Cursed items are unusual magic creations that have a malicious effect on the unwary and can force its wielders into difficult choices. Oh, so specific cursed items. And how difficult it can be to get rid of a cursed item. We talked about that. Oh, the monkey's paw. This dried, gnarled hand is clenched in a fist, waiting for the creature to pick it up. When you pick up the monkey's paw, the hand opens, revealing 3 withered fingers. The monkey's paw grants you 3 wishes, curling 1 figure after each one. When you pick up the monkey's paw, you cannot discard the hand until it returns to a clenched fist by casting its 3 wishes. Any attempt to discard the hand, even with the effects of a miracle or wish spell, are unsuccessful, as the monkey's paw reappears among your possessions within 1d4 hours. It doesn't work for any other creature in the intervening time. The hand returns even if another creature steals it from you. Once you make all 3 wishes, the monkey's paw uses plane shift to travel to a random point in the multiverse. Whenever the monkey's paw hears you utter a statement that sounds like a wish, even if you don't use the words "I wish," it activates and grants a twisted, horrified version of your wish, producing an effect within the possibility of alter reality, miracle, primal phenomenon, or wish, potentially a greater effect at the GM's discretion. Cool. Different kinds of curses to add to items. That says erratic transposing. As I was scrolling down, I read it as erotic transposing. That was different, but it's erratic. Okay, relics. All right, I like relics. Some extraordinary magic items grow in power along with a character, gaining... Oh, so this is what their word for this is. Some extraordinary magic powers grow in power along with a character, gaining abilities that add to an adventurer's legend. They are called relics, and owning one can define a character more than other magic items would. That was in one of the Unearthed Arcana as well. I did really enjoy that book from 3rd edition. The Unearthed Arcana, talking about leveling up your magic items with you. And I'm a fan of that because it seems like most of the stories that I enjoy and the stories that I would tell don't really involve characters getting magic items and then discarding them and going through this long thing of magic items as they go through their career. You know, you would get some type of magic item like a magic sword, such as Sting, for instance, when Bilbo gets Sting. And then one way to handle that, instead of having to, well, that was fun, you got Sting, but now it's kind of, you've leveled up beyond that, so now no longer important, is to have some kind of system by which the weapon reveals increasing powers to you as you get increased power, or you're able to access increasing powers. I do like that. That's another way to, I think it might sound weird to say involve low magic worlds, but I do actually think that it's like a better for low magic kinds of worlds. Oh, Charlie agrees with me on the DM's guide. Artifacts are just really powerful items that cannot be destroyed outside of a specific method. Relics are really cool, though. They're basically scaling customizable magic items. Oh, caught in meetings, James? Uh-oh. I'm sorry to hear that. Welcome, James. So, second DM probably first had intelligent weapons that could be a hoot depending on the DM. Bag of weasels? Did I skip over that? Was that really one? We had some type of bag in a game that I was... Wait, hold on. That had creatures in it. Bag? No, it's right here. Bag of weasels. Okay, that's serious. Okay, let's take a look at this. Bag of weasels. This is under the cursed items category. This item appears... I don't know how I missed that. This item appears to be and functions as a type 1 bag of holding until you try to retrieve an item from the bag. Whenever you retrieve an item from the bag of weasels, roll a DC 11 flat check. On a success, you retrieve the item as normal. On a failure, the item you retrieve is transformed into a weasel. This doesn't affect artifacts, cursed items, or other hard-to-destroy items. The weasel has the statistics of a giant rat, except it is tiny and exudes an aura of transmutation magic. The weasel has no loyalty to you and typically attempts to escape as quickly as possible. If the weasel is targeted with a remove curse spell or a similar magical effect, it transforms back into the original item that it was taken from the bag of weasels. If it dies or is slain, the weasel disappears and the item is permanently destroyed. Because the weasel is a transformed item, you don't gain any benefit you would receive from attacking a creature, defeating one, damaging one, or the like, but you do gain any benefit you would gain from destroying an item. Okay. The bag of holding, bag of devouring. The art on the bag of devouring makes me happy. All those teeth just waiting for you. Yeah, that monkey's paw rule set is vicious. I like the monkey's paw. The bag of weasels is hilarious. The bag of devouring, though. So, okay, so this item appears to be and functions like a bag of holding, but is actually a feeding orifice of a bizarre extra-dimensional creature. Any animal or vegetable matter put in the bag has a chance of triggering the item's interest. Whenever you reach into the bag to retrieve an item or place an item or plant or animal or plant product within the bag, roll a DC 9 flat check. On a success, the bag ignores the intrusion. On a failure, the bag devours the triggering material, removing it from this realm of existence. The bag can't eat artifacts or other similarly hard to destroy items. If the triggering material is not entirely inside the bag, such as when someone reaches a hand inside, the bag of devouring attempts to pull it completely inside the bag using a grapple action with an athletics bonus determined by the type of the bag. On a success, it devours the victim or object entirely. I wish to get rid of this monkey's paw. That isn't going to work, right? Much different curse than that. Oh, okay. The third, yes, no, okay. I do remember that book, the 3.5, The Weapons of Legacy. That might be the ones you're thinking of. Powering up items, yes. So that was it's like a really important guy in 3.5. This guy Legacy with lots of weapons, right? I'm kidding. That was a joke around our table. So the Weapons of Legacy. It could be. I hadn't actually thought about that book in a long time, other than I remember that joke about the Weapons of Legacy. It could be. It could be. I want to say what I'm thinking of has to do with, was in, of course, it could have been republished with rules in Unearthed Arcana. Stargate Mind says, I use these bags to destroy magic items. Chase Street says, I've heard stories of parties making effective use of bags of devouring, grabbing a goblin and stuffing them in there, for instance. The right of Emerald. The Weapons of Legacy, like Emerald. Exactly. Yes, that'd be funny. Yeah, the monkey's paw twists your wishes in the worst possible outcome. If you wish to be rid of the monkey's paw, I bet it would kick you out to the lower planes and leave all of your equipment where it is. Yeah, it cannot possibly be that easy. Okay, so relics. We're just looking at relics here. So these are the leveling up stuff. Runes as gifts. Allow pride. So one of these gifts are relic gifts. Gifts are divided up into 3 tiers. Minor gifts grant useful, often scaling abilities and are available early in a character's career. Minor gifts define a relic, determine its true purpose in granting powerful abilities. Grand gifts are the pinnacle of power, and most relics never have more than one. So a lot of those. Things that the weapon can, or things the relic in general can have. So then artifacts. Yeah, a globe of utter darkness that consumes all things. Powerful weapons created in antiquity carrying the hope of an entire people. A simple deck of cards representing fortunes both transcendent and deadly. There are artifacts, items of incredible power spoken of in thousands of stories and beyond the capability of modern people to create. So also sounds like some second edition to me. I'm going to have to, so I was working on, I still think it makes sense to do some 5th edition conversions or rules for the worlds that I've been working on, but it also makes sense, I think, to dig in here to second edition. There may be, in fact, I should look at try to look at the DMG again. Like I said, it wasn't all that great for 5th edition, I don't think, but there may be some variant rules that would help with getting the right feel, at least within the context of a 5th edition game, for what I'm doing. But it seems like some of these variant rules or what's going on in Pathfinder might be able to do the same kind of thing with Pathfinder. The Sphere of Annihilation is an artifact level item here. So artifact destruction. Yeah, the artifact stat block usually has a destruction entry. The entry that details the extraordinary method needed to destroy the item. These entries can be highly specific. It could take completing an entire quest or even an entire campaign to finally destroy the artifact. Creating an artifact. I remember those rules from 2nd edition. Artifacts. So Axe of the Dwarven Lords. Item 26. Deck of Many Things. Let's find a good one. The Elder Sign. Oh, well, hold on. We got to look at this. The Elder Sign. This stone tablet is carved with the symbol of a 5-branched twig. There are only a limited number of Elder Signs, and each time one is destroyed, the universe's doom creeps inexorably closer. Reciting one of 3 different occult mantras, DC 20 occultism check to do so correctly, allows 3 different activations. All 3 abilities work only on a creature connected to the Elder mythos or a cosmic horror, such as a Wendigo or Gug. The activations refer to them as eldritch creatures. Activate 2 of your action slots. Command, Envision, Interact. Effect. The Elder Sign casts a 10th level banishment spell on an eldritch creature. Even if the creature isn't extra planar, the Elder Sign can still banish it, sending it back to the part of the material plane from which it originated. If the creature is a great old one, the Elder Sign banishes it automatically, as if it critically failed its save, but then is forever destroyed. I guess that's the Elder Sign that is forever destroyed. Activate 2. Effect. The Elder Sign casts Dispel Magic on an area from an eldritch creature using a counteract level of 10 and a plus 30 modifier for the roll. Activate. Command, Envision, Interact. Effect. The Elder Sign casts Dimensional Lock, through which it wards against travel only by eldritch creatures. Each time the Elder Sign casts Dimensional Lock in this way, the previous Dimensional Lock spells ends. Ooh. The only way to destroy an Elder Sign is to use it to banish a great old one. Chase says, so many great stories where party members climb into a pitch black opening and didn't return, only for them to be followed by other PCs. Then the GM reveals the opening was the sphere. Oh. There was something like that in, let's see. It was one of the Shahogin campaigns. And there was like one twisting water, water whirlpool. That's the word I'm looking for. One whirlpool that you might think goes down to another level, but it actually like sucks you down into the magma of the earth. And a friend was telling me that he was running this at the game store, and they were like, all the players were convinced this was a way to get down to the next level, and so they all tied themselves together and jumped down that. Mirror of Shorkin, Orb of Dragonkind. See, it actually kind of surprises me that Orb of Dragonkind and Axe of the Dwarven Lords appear. So those must have been things that were not, hadn't thought about it, but I guess were not the intellectual property of D&D or of Wizards. I've got the intro to Dungeons and Dragons box over there that we played quite a bit. And I remember it has an Orb of Dragonkind in it. The Philosopher's Extractor. Here is Sphere of Annihilation. A sphere of annihilation is a floating black sphere that pulls any matter that comes into contact with it into a void, utterly destroying it. Anything or anyone destroyed by the sphere can be brought back only by the deity's direct intervention. The sphere can't be counteracted by dispel magic or similar effects. The sphere stays still until caused to move by a creature controlling it. Taking control of the sphere requires succeeding an attempt to activate it. A talisman of the sphere makes it easier to control the sphere. Talisman of the sphere down there. A loop of adamantine can be slung on a chain to be worn as a necklace, but must be held to convey its benefits. So how do you destroy one? When a gate sphere is cast such that its rift overlaps the sphere of annihilation, roll D%. On a roll of 1 to 50, the sphere is destroyed. On a roll of 51 to 85, the spell is disrupted. And on 86 to 100, everything within 180-foot emanation of the sphere is pulled into another plane through a tear in spatial fabric. If a rod of cancellation touches the sphere, both items explode, dealing 14d6 bludgeoning damage to everything in a 60-foot burst from the point of their destruction. Gems and other art objects. Diseases. So it looks like we've got more stuff about diseases in here than 5e gives us. Oh, drugs as well. We were looking at these in the Book of Vile Darkness. Elven Absinthe. Building worlds. I wonder if they have anything interesting and new in here. Civilization, divine involvement, building settlements, religions, cosmology, nations. Settlements. Let me go back. We just have a few more minutes here. Let me go back to the table of contents to see. Oh yeah, the subsystems. So let's go to subsystems 147. Let's see. Okay, no, right here. So subsystems. So subsystems are a great way to add depth to aspects of your game that don't occur in combat but still have high stakes. This chapter begins with victory points, a structure that underlies most of this chapter to help you build your own subsystems. Next are most of the common subsystems you might need in your game with advice on how to use and modify them. This chapter is organized into the following sections. Victory points provide you a framework with which to build your own subsystems, detailing the fundamental structure that Pathfinder uses for its subsystems. Influence gives rules for more in-depth social encounters involving influencing NPCs. Research shows you how to build an interesting structure for scenes where PCs research information. Chases are designed to represent the fast-paced feel of movie chase scenes. That sounds like an important one. Infiltration allows you to build infiltrations and heists where the player's careful planning helps the PCs maintain an edge against their adversaries and pull off incredible capers. Reputation breathes life into the world around the PCs, such as various groups of NPCs reacting favorably or unfavorably to the PCs, and the PC status as the PC status when those groups changes. I actually think I'm interested to look at that one because I kind of think that interaction, that one seems to be one that could go around, that could be useful, because rather than just talking about interaction as in, hey, this is a role-playing encounter, the types of people that you are able to interact with should also increase as your level goes up. Like, will the king have an audience with you or not? Or a regular audience even. Duels, leadership, exploration, and vehicles. Okay, well then, all right. So if this is all based off of victory points, let's find out what that is. Victory points are a powerful tool in your GM's arsenal. Okay. Okay, there are a few common structures for tracking victory points you might want to use in your new subsystem. You can come up with a structure based off one of the subsystems below, or you could create your own completely different structure if none of them match the way that you're running your game. Accumulating victory points. The most common structure is to accumulate victory points toward a total, either stopping after reaching a successful threshold or collecting as many victory points as possible in a given time frame and then measuring the results against various thresholds. The influence subsystem on page 151 is a great example of this structure in action. Each PC has a certain number of chances to influence various NPCs, And after reaching a particular threshold of victory points with an NPC, the NPCs have convinced that NPC. In a variation of this structure, the PC's adversaries can also accumulate victory points, giving the PCs a moving target, either to reach the goal before the adversary or to have more victory points than the adversary at the end of the given time frame. This is a great structure for you to use in a situation where the PCs face opposition rather than having the PCs accumulate victory points while adversaries decrease the total, since it's dynamic and less risk of resulting in a stalemate. You can track a subsystem at a larger scale, like over the course of an adventure or campaign. Okay, so accumulating rolls. In the cases where a PC needs to make checks to gain victory points, the amount they get for the degrees of success is up to you. The default scale works in most cases. Critical success, 2 victory points. Success, 1 victory point. Critical failure, the PCs lose 1 victory point. That means that the result of a PC's check usually results in the party gaining either 1 or no victory points. However, specialized PCs have a solid chance of earning the party 2, and harebrained schemes have a fair chance of losing the PC 1 victory point. Diminishing victory points. Using this method, the PCs start with a certain number of victory points, and rather than accumulating them, they attempt to avoid losing them. Perhaps the PCs are trying to keep dragon eggs from cracking, or otherwise attempting to minimize loss, damage, or danger. This variant is less common, but it's great at conveying the urgency of a situation as the PCs lose points. Sometimes it's necessary to add that sense of tension within a subsystem. Typically, when the PCs lose all their victory points, a negative event occurs. If they're on a timer, the final result might even be better the more points they manage to keep before the time runs out. Or diminishing rolls. Using this structure, the PCs typically lose victory points as a result of failed checks, though they can still lose them for making particularly poor decisions or behaving recklessly. For instance, you can use any scaling. So like on a critical success, if regaining ground is possible, the PCs gain 1 victory point. Success, the PCs lose or avoid losing. Oh, this is the roll behind that. Failure, the PCs lose a victory point. Critical failure, you lose 2. Chase says several of the published Pathfinder 2nd Edition adventure paths make use of the victory points, especially as a means of successfully influencing the NPCs or organization to believe the PCs or aid them. Sable Phoenix says this sounds like a better version of skill challenges, which makes sense seeing how much of Pathfinder 2 used 4E Dungeons and Dragons as inspiration. Used 4E as inspiration? I don't know skill challenges, especially if it was from 4E. Okay, how many victory points should you have to accumulate? So this is using this system as influence. Research, when the PCs are trying to discover important information while challenged by a time limit or other interesting twist, the research subsystem is just the right thing to lend their effort more urgency and weight. Chases. We've looked at a couple of different chase systems. Infiltration. Reputation. Reputation. So this goes in 2 ways. Ignored, liked, admired, revered. Ignored, disliked, hated, hunted. Reputation is a mid to long-term subsystem where the PCs accumulate or lose reputation points with a particular group of people. whether it be a guild, a government, a church, a village, or anything else you can think of. The PCs gain reputation points by performing favors for the organization to a maximum of 50 reputation points, and lose reputation points by doing disservices to a minimum of negative 50 reputation. You could track all of that by all of your different groups of people. Duels. Why do we have this? Oh, because they're not all combat duels. Spellcasting duels. While many groups of PCs are isolated heroes who get the job done on their own, other groups enjoy gathering allies and building new organizations of their own. The leadership subsystem allows your PCs to do just that. Let's take a look at Hexploration just for a moment. Oh, Pathfinder 2. Pathfinder 2, of course. Second edition Pathfinder. For some reason, I'd gone back and was thinking about the original Pathfinder. Yeah, the joke being Pathfinder 1 was 3.75. Designing a Hexploration map. Okay, so what are we supposed to say in here? Let's see if we can get into how they want this to be done quickly. So it says, few activities epitomize adventure as much as pure exploration through an unknown wilderness. Leaving the city streets and trade roads behind and striking out into the unknown can test the mettle of the most experienced adventurers. But such efforts reward those seeking fantastical sights, natural resources, and unforeseen opportunities. The best way to map the areas with a hex grid. Each hex represents a discrete area 12 miles from corner to corner, which can be traveled across and explored in about 1 day, even by slower moving groups. Hexes track the distance a party travels while exploring and define the bounds of certain types of terrain. When designing your hex map, it's best to have each hex represent one primary terrain type. This doesn't mean it's the only feature in the land of this hex, but it's the predominant type and represents the challenges of traveling across the exploring that hex. You can also give your hex other elements, such as a river or a road might snake through the area, or it could contain a castle, a cave, a village, a fort, or anything else. Populating hexes. When populating a Hexploration map, keep in mind that you have little control over which areas the players choose to explore first, or if they'll explore if they explore the areas at all. Because Hexploration leads to non-linear player-guided play, consider providing hooks within encounter sites for them to explore in several directions from their starting point. You can provide some direction by presenting jobs like exploring a site on behalf of an NPC, escorting travelers, delivering goods, or scouting a region for a local noble. Let's see. Random encounters. Terrain, generating random hex maps. If you'd like to generate a map randomly, begin by selecting a hex on a blank map as the starting point. Then decide the type of terrain for that starting point or roll on table 3-4, random terrain type. From that point onward, let the players decide which direction they travel. If they enter an unexplored hex, generate that hex by rolling a d20 on table 3-4 and table 3-5 random terrain. But surely you don't want to go from forest to Arctic or something like that. Or 14 to 20 is match the previous hex. So you're not generating something completely, maybe completely nonsensical. Once you have your Hexploration map ready, it's time for the PCs to start exploring. Each day, the PCs decide how they plan on exploring, either learning more about their current hex or traversing a new hex. They do this by declaring one or more Hexploration activities for the day. These activities take two forms, group or individual. The number of Hexploration activities a group can accomplish each day is based on the speed of their slowest member. If the group is willing to split up, the faster members can perform more Hexploration activities based on their own speed, but such a decision may be deadly given the threat of random encounters. A group moving at a speed of 10 feet or less is so slow it can't even traverse a single open hex in a single day. It takes groups 2 days for a Hexploration activity. So speed, I guess this is your basic speed, activities per day. group activities. These include, so group activities require the entire party to work together in order to be effective. These activities count as one for the day's exploration activities for the whole group. For instance, if the group has 2 exploration activities per day and decided to travel and reconnoiter, only one would have any additional exploration activities that day. No one would. There are 2 group activities, travel and reconnoiter. So that's traveling to the adjacent hex. The other one's probably scouting. You spend time surveying and exploring a specific hex, getting the lay of the land and looking for unusual features. Reconnoitering a single hex takes a number of exploration activities equal to the number of travel activities necessary to traverse the hex. And individual activities. Fortify camp. Map the area. Random encounters. All right. Well, I guess that's probably enough of checking this out. So things we didn't look at included, a vast NPC gallery, which is in this book. And then also our basics of game mastering, including running encounters, running exploration, running downtime, adjudicating rules, special circumstances, rarity in your game, adventure design. And we did know that there's a lot of math and balance to the way that you're supposed to be designing encounters and things like that. And we found that out in the starter box. So there's probably a lot more information on that here. Well, what do you think? A good DMG? It seems like it to me. Stargate Mind says, assign the number of dice to the hexes, and then you can randomly control where the rival encounter is when characters travel to hunt that rival down. Assign the number of dice to the hexes. Then you can randomly control where the rival encounter is when the characters travel to hunt that rival down. Second E Kingmaker has expanded exploration rules, but I've heard mixed things about it. Haven't looked into it, though it says one of the Second E books that I don't own. Chase seems to agree. I own the first edition AP of Kingmaker and just haven't wanted to buy the new version since I ran the original for my group years back. Seems like a solid book. Seems like it. Sable Phoenix says, I'll have to pick this one up. Frankly, more interested in their general game mastering advice than the mechanics until I've used the base Pathfinder 2 mechanics, though. All right. Well, all right. So if you are here, if the algorithm has brought you here, I'll drop the Discord link in the comments there. We'll be live again tonight, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing a table talk tonight. We've got the 1980s Labyrinth movie with David Bowie, which is interesting. It's going to be interesting to look at in light of the Heroine's Labyrinth story structure that we have been looking at. Brianna is going to be with me here. It didn't intentionally work out that way. Do both Pan's Labyrinth, and then I talked to Doug, who had the Heroine's Labyrinth theory, and then I had never seen Labyrinth before, and neither had Brianna, so we decided to watch it yesterday. So we're going to be discussing that tonight. So 7:30 p.m., we will be back here. I'll get a link together for it so that it'll be ready for us. All right. Thank you so much for being here with me. I have enjoyed it, and I will see you tonight and then again tomorrow. Later, everybody. Be productive, be creative, and grind on.